Michael in Joking Apart tomorrow at 9 on 2.
Allies have begun military raids on Iraq as their response to violations of ceasefire agreements by Saddam Hussein.
As Allied warplanes begin their strike against Iraq, British forces are once again in the thick of the action. With the increasing deployment of our troops around the world, tonight, Reportage investigates the British war machine.
If you thought the end of the Cold War had brought us a period of peace, you'd be mistaken. This week in Bosnia, with British troops returning fire for the first time, we find ourselves involved in the third major war of a decade, and that's not including Northern Ireland. Britain is an entire war machine which makes and sells weapons and employs millions of workers. This week we go inside the British war machine, and in an exclusive poll, look at young people's attitudes to war in the military. Are we gung-ho patriots or no-gun pacifists? First though to Northern Ireland and the young squaddies on the front line.
South Armagh, the IRA's favourite hunting ground. These fields are a potential death trap for a British Army patrol. One of over 19,000 troops in Northern Ireland, Vincent Stott is on his first 6-month tour of duty.
I feel constantly fearful when we go out on patrol. I think it's the same for everybody, because they're just not sure. It is a really scary place, and a lot of the guys just try and shut it out. And I shut out myself and just got on with the job. It's to be expected that there could be accidents and my friends and that could die.
Only 17, but too young to serve in Northern Ireland, Vincent Stott was posted to the Gulf.
Most of it was scary, but we could hear the B-52 bombers flying past and then hear explosions, and most of the time it was dark and you could see smoke, you could see the flames, you could hear all the rounds firing off.
It was quite hard to stay awake. I was going into an attack and actually fell asleep at the gun. And when the worry went over a bump, I woke up. I was reading the Bible, and it's probably the first time I've ever read the Bible. Just basically God's words to keep me going.
Time off can only be spent within the confines of this base. This can inevitably lead to frustration and intense boredom. Ironically, the only release they get is out on patrol in the hostile fields of South Armagh.
Army bomb experts were still trying to make the device safe when there was a massive explosion.
You get tasked 2 or 3 times a day, and in a 24-hour period you can't remain tense for that length of time.
Boss to ops, boss to ops.
Yep. The tension perhaps starts when the alarm bell goes and you know you're going out and doing a job. I don't think I'm brave at all. We don't look at it as going into the jaws of death. I mean, you'd become very paranoid if you thought you were going to experience death every time you walked out. We don't actually sit down at the bomb ends and take them to pieces. We have wheelbarrows, as you see behind me, and that does a lot of our work from a great distance. I don't think my job is one of the most dangerous in the army, no. You can balance that with the infantryers walking the streets at the moment. Their job perhaps has more danger because they don't know what's around the next corner.
I don't like coming here, but I don't detest coming here.
The army says its role in the province is purely to support the police. A soldier can't arrest anyone.
We're not trained to deal with the public as such. We're all trained in conventional warfare.
Bye-bye.
The thought of killing someone, I think it's always in a soldier's mind while he works in Northern Ireland. In that split second, you've got to think, am I right, am I wrong? Should I do it, shouldn't I? I'm not scared to kill somebody if he was trying to kill me or a member of my team. If I was within my rights to kill him, then no doubt I would.
Tension and tedium are key words in Northern Ireland. On average, soldiers work a 16-hour day and are constantly on call. Hours are erratic and tasks can be gruelling. At a moment's notice, soldiers could be ordered out on patrol, having to sleep rough in fields and ditches for nights on end. Even away from the front line, army life has its hazards. In the province last year, 4 times more soldiers died in army accidents than in action. They can't socialise off base and have to spend their free time cooped up in barracks, because over here, every soldier is a target.
Being in the army, the discipline and everything you've got to do, and knowing you could die any time, it does get you thinking and makes you feel a lot older.
I'd be willing to tell anybody I'm a soldier. I'm very proud of the job that I'm doing. I've been in for 8 years now and enjoyed every minute of it.
A life in the military may not be for you, but if you'd been a young man aged between 18 and 26 back during the 1950s, you would have had to serve under national service. Back then, Britain had over 700,000 men bearing arms. Nowadays, the army relies on persuading young people that it offers them a sound career, life in the professionals. But for the recruiting sergeant, it's an ever-increasing battle to sign them up.
I'll see Frank join the army then. What for? I don't know why Frank did it.
This is the hard sell for a career in the army. You may well get excitement, travel and the odd spot of après-ski, but the 90s promised to be a difficult decade for the armed forces.
I suppose someone's got to do it.
This year, the army plans to recruit less than half the number of soldiers it did in 1989. Despite the economic slump, the army is finding it difficult to attract new people prepared to serve Queen and country.
In this recession, there appears to be a new phenomenon. For the first time, despite a recession, the army does appear to be having some difficulty in reaching the right number, the number of people they require.
The daily diet of war that appears on our TV screens could be one reason why young people are slow to sign up.
The statistical chance of a young man or young woman being posted to a combat zone today is pretty great. Northern Ireland goes on, unfortunately. The Gulf has occurred, Bosnia is happening now, and no doubt there will be further examples of instability worldwide in this post-Cold War world.
What's certain is that well-publicised cases of bigotry and brutality aren't the best advertisement for a career in the army.
If they're going to hit you, let them. Otherwise it will get worse.
No black man has a place in the army. Or not a valid place anyway.
They thought, you know, to be homosexual is to be a health risk.
Join the army, see the world, learn a trade, they used to say. But for some young people, it doesn't work out quite that way. Keiran Simpson joined the army when he was 16. He started being bullied after he was transferred to Germany. Other soldiers would attack him at night. It's known as a visit.
When you're expecting a visit, they will dress up so that you cannot recognise them or their voices. They will come in, rip you out of bed and start beating you up. Then they'll throw you back in bed and run before you can know what's happened.
Last Christmas, Keiran's leave was cancelled at the last minute. He was ordered to stay in Germany.
My Christmas was guarding a gate. I came back to camp and I went to get in my bed and I found that they'd emptied a bin on it, been sick on it, urinated on it. They'd done everything, just thrown my bedding out the window, and I just had no bed to sleep on.
Eventually, Keiran couldn't stand the bullying any longer. He attempted suicide. He was unconscious for 3 days. Keiran was administratively discharged from the army in August. This is a way of getting rid of people whose services the army no longer requires. Bullies normally pick on those who are different from the crowd. If you're black and in the army, you're likely to be the perfect target. Jeff Mackay joined the army in February 1991. During his training, he won 2 awards. His harassment started when he was posted to Germany.
The problems actually materialised on the very first day I was with the troop on a parade when the troop sergeant of my particular troop called me after the parade by shouting out, "Nigger, come here."
Jeff was ostracised by his colleagues because of his colour.
I was being so sort of isolated. If I went to the mess, no one would sit at my table, you know. I'd sit on my own, no one would talk to you. You'd be sort of ignored. Or people would walk past and shout, "Nigger," or "Walk a coon."
After a month of isolation, Jeff went absent without leave.
Every day you're AWOL, there's another day you're going to spend in jail when you go back. So it gets worse and worse every day. You can never relax.
Jeff was on the run for 3 months before being recaptured. He was given a medical discharge from the army in October. His case is currently being investigated by a military board of inquiry.
Black people don't have a place in the army. We may look good on like advertising posters, you know, the army's an equal opportunities employer, but at grassroots level, in the regiment, you have no place there. You're not accepted, you're not welcome.
One magazine you wouldn't expect to see in the officers' mess. That's because to be gay in the army is forbidden, and that's an order. Paul Durnford joined the army in 1985. He was aware that service regulations prohibited homosexuality.
I was actually dreading the point in my career's interview where they ask everybody, you know, are you homosexual or lesbian? And of course I said no.
Paul trained as a chef in the army. Despite knowing he was gay, he married and had 2 children. But after 6.5 years, Paul could stand the deception no longer. He came out.
I knew that I would have to pay with my career, my job, the lifestyle I built up for myself, my house, my family. But at the end of the day, your personal happiness is all that counts.
After Paul admitted he was gay, he was discharged from the army. He's still bitter about the experience.
If what I've done, or what a lot of other men and women do by confessing or being found out, helps to change the law, then that can only be a good thing. You know, but we've already paid with our careers.
Over 19,000 soldiers left the army last year, and more would if they could. But faced with high training costs, the army tries hard to keep new recruits. Indeed, as we've discovered, goes to great lengths to prevent them from leaving. So say you do sign up and put on the uniform and find out you don't like army life, how can you get out? And who can you turn to when your contract seems more like a con trick?
I want to join the armed forces because I want to learn a trade, see the world.
It's a good chance to travel and learn at the same time, and you're making money as well.
All the armed forces offer exciting opportunities.
These are just some of the thousands of 16-year-olds who'll be chasing jobs offering travel, excitement and training with the armed forces next summer. But for some, the dream could turn sour.
I enjoyed it first. It was like a challenge and everything, and like everything that it's supposed to be. But then you start seeing the darker sides of the army, which it isn't the glossy magazine that they put across.
But 16-year-old recruits who find the army a painful experience have got just 6 months to decide to leave. Otherwise, they've no choice but to stay for 5 years. This is because the shortest contract you can sign is for 3 years adult service. That only starts when you're 18. So if you join when you're 16, you can get caught in the 5-year trap. The only way to escape the trap is to leave during the first 6 months of training.
We have repeatedly been told that recruits are not told if you join when you are under 17 and a half, you lose your right to leave after you have been in 6 months.
At Ease claim the Army deliberately don't make this clear.
I have no doubt that at a very senior level there is an actual policy that these young people will not be informed of their rights.
Reportage has come across another of the recruits caught in the trap. His parents, who wished to remain anonymous, claimed they'd been reassured by this letter from his commanding officer that the door would always be open should he want to leave. Months later, he formally requested a discharge, but he was told the 6-month deadline had passed and he was committed to a further 3 years' service. In 1991, the rules on buying out of the Army were changed. It means that this too can now only be done in the first 6 months. Many victims of the 5-year trap run away. Going AWOL means you can't get unemployment benefit, can't legally get a job, and anyone offering you accommodation can be prosecuted.
To be frank, join the Army.
Last autumn, the Army stepped up its recruitment drive, targeting 16 to 18s. But teenagers' aspirations change very quickly, so is 6 months long enough to make decisions about 5 years of your life?
We ought to have a situation where youngsters have longer to decide whether they want to remain in the service, at least a